not a question, Mr. Orton, you need to answer. With the permission of Senator Judge Tulfo, may the chair replace the word nagtatanga-tangahan with feigning ignorance on the record? I see Senator Judge Tulfo nodding. So let the records so reflect the statement feigning ignorance in lieu of the Tagalog word mentioned earlier. Yes, Senator Judge Pangilinan is recognized. You have 2 minutes, sir. You may proceed when you're ready.
Yes, thank you. Before my time begins to run, can we have a request for the uploading of third quarter to, no? Yeah, okay. Again, good afternoon, Mr. Ortonio. This is the accomplishment report for the third quarter of 2023, July 14 to September 30. Now, it appears here wala na yung 40 million pesos worth of medicines. Correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Meron siya nung last quarter, meron siya nung first quarter, meron siya nung second quarter. Pero nung third quarter, wala na. Sabi mo kanina dahil yun ang hinihingi nung mga informant. So, nung third quarter, wala nang hiningi. Ano yun? Gumaling na silang lahat?
That I cannot, again, sir, I cannot answer, sir.
Yes. At hindi ba you received the AOM on October? Sometime in October?
October 4, 2023, sir.
Ito, October 9. So doon sa October 4, when you receive the AOM, nandun na yung findings na dinidisallow or pinapa-submit ang additional documents, tama? For medicines, etc.
That's correct, sir.
Okay, so mukhang hindi gumaling lahat nung binibigyan ng gamot. Ang nangyari, mukhang dahil nakita ninyo yung AOM at ipinagbabawal, binago ninyo. Tama po ba yun?
Sir, again, sir, I cannot answer kung binago yung accomplishment report, sir, because it's something that I personally did not prepare also,
okay.
sir.
Now, I move on to another point. Sabi nyo, nung natanggap nyo yung AOM, you went point by point sa mga issues, tama?
Yes, sir.
Ang tanong, bakit di nyo binuksan yung sealed envelope doon sa ARs? Kasi andun lahat ng mga acknowledgement receipt. Bawal ba?
Sir, I did not open, sir, because at the time, sir, the AOM indicated that we are requested to submit the documentary evidence of payments. And
that is the acknowledgement receipts. That is what you are being required to submit.
To submit, sir.
So
Yes,
should
sir.
you not have gone through the acknowledgement receipts to check because you're being asked to submit the documentary evidence of payment and to check if the ARs are actually documentary evidence acceptable?
Sir, yun na po yung nabigay sa akin ng special disbursing officer, sir. So,
No, okay. The question is, why didn't you open the envelope?
Sir, I did not open anymore, sir, because at the time, sir, I also have a designation as
Were you instructed not to open it?
Sir, as liaison officer kasi, sir, I am not in the position, sir, to open yung sealed na
But you were
DEP,
instructed
sir.
to submit documentary evidence of payment. So you, in other words, you complied without going through the documentary evidence of payment? How can you now tell if it was documentary evidence of payment that you were submitting when you did not open the envelope? What were you submitting?
I personally did not open it anymore,
That's
sir.
right, but you were being required by COA to submit, to comply. So
Yes, sir.
Would you say that was substantial compliance?
Sir, yun po kasi yung na-require ng AOM, sir. So we submitted the documentary evidence
Kasi
of
ang
payment.
sitwasyon dito, dahilan mo o depensa mo na hindi mo na tiningnan o hindi mo nakita. Pero tama bang depensa yun? Na hindi mo nakita kaya hindi mo masasagot? Kasi ganun din ang sinabi mo, wala ako doon, wala ako sa ground, I'm not in the implementation, kaya hindi ko masagot. Is that compliance with, the requirements of COA?
Sir, the duty po, sir, to ensure that the DEPs...
There was nothing to stop you from opening the envelope, right? There was nothing.
Sir, the JC, sir, indicates, sir, that there are only certain individuals who have access
You
to
could get
the-
clearance, could you?
Sir,
Of
that's
course.
what...
Of course you can.
I did not ask anymore, sir, because I parang respectfully in-acknowledge ko na kung ano yung nakalagay sa JC, sir.
In other words, you really did not go point for point as you earlier testified to. Kasi pag sinabi mo we went point for point, parang masinop yung naging trabaho ninyo, di ba? Thorough, point for point. Pero ang lumalabas dito ngayon, hindi nyo binuksan yung documentary evidence of payment, hindi nyo binusisi, di ba? Sinabmit lang ninyo. Again, we're talking of hundreds of millions of pesos. And I'd like to think, being an intelligent Ateneo graduate, diba, that you would have exercised greater diligence as you tried to monitor, check on, supervise financial services heads, how government money was being spent. Yun ang tinatanong ng mga kababayan natin. Mahirap paniwalaan, I'll wrap it up here, na kayo ay gumastos ng 122 million para sa gamot na reward dahil nag-surveillance yung mga informant at nabigyan ng reward at hiningi nila gamot at hindi niyo binigyan ng gamot, binigyan niyo ng pera para sila na bibili ng gamot. Sabi niyo usual yun.
Kindly wrap up, Senator Judge Pangilinan.
No further questions, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Judge Pangilinan. Finally, Senate President Gatchalian.
Thank you.
And then Senator Judge Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
wrap it up.
Merong binabasa ko itong reply ninyo, Mr. Ortonio, to COA, dated November 30, 2023. At nakasulat dito, I'll flash it on the screen. Paki-flash na lang. Hence, the 125 million CF was fully utilized for expenses planned, implemented, and paid during the 3-month period covering October to December 2022. So, sino nagbayad ng 125 million in advance?
Sir, there was no payment in advance that was made, sir. All payments were made between the period of December 21 to December 31, sir.
But very clear kasi dito na binayaran na siya paid 3 months in advance. In fact, mayroon pa siyang months. And ito yung kadugtong ng sinabi ng ating presiding officer, obligation incurred. So, ang basa ko dito, nabayaran na siya. Kaya rini-reimburse na lang ng 125 CF.
Sir, if I may be allowed, sir, to clarify, Your Honor, yung parang explanation from yesterday, sir. For the period of October to December 2022, sir, based on the information that was shared by the security officer, once we have already submitted yung PFP sometime in September, the security team, sir, meaning si Colonel Lachica, sir, already made coordination with informants or agents on the ground. As to the extent of the coordination that they did, sir, I am not privy to that anymore. However, when we received the Sara in December 13, 2022, which already indicates that we already have the funding for the confidential funds, that's the time that they were able to make definitive agreements with the informants on the ground. And once the payment, once the check has been encashed already, that's the time that payments were made between the period of December 21 to 31.
Mas realistic pa kasi kung in advance tapos reimbursed kaysa 125 million gagastusin in 11 days. So mas realistic pa nga itong explanation ninyo kaysa doon sa 11 days na gagastusin. And we're talking about 845 acknowledgement receipts scattered all over the country. Kaya itong explanation ninyo mas realistic pa, albeit although violation ng joint circular.
So I'd like to point out lang, Your Honor, that there were no reimbursements made, sir, based on what was relayed to me, sir. There was no reimbursements
But
made.
this was
sir.
information relayed to you by Lachica.
Colonel Lachica, sir.
And itong si Colonel Lachica, kanina naririnig ko, hindi nyo alam yung direct na ginagawa niya, hindi rin alam ni Acosta. So, sino lang nakakaalam sa opisina ninyo tungkol sa confidential operations or itong paggastos, yung paggastos ng confidential operations?
For the confidential operations, sir, again, sir, I have no personal knowledge, sir. I would assume, sir, because meron po siyang designation from our head of agency, then the reportorial duties, I would presume, would be directly to the head of agency.
Which is si Vice President Sara.
Which is
So,
the head
dalawang
of
tao
agency.
lang sa opisina ninyo, si Vice President Sara at si Colonel Chica lang, ang alam kung paano gastusin itong 500 million.
Sir, I would have no personal knowledge again, sir, kung sila lang pong dalawa, sir.
Kasi ikaw yung gumawa nung reply, pero galing sa Colonel Chica yung information, si Gina naman kahapon, ganun rin, hindi rin niya alam. So I'm trying to understand, sino nakakaalam nung paggastos ng 500 million dahil hindi siya maliit na pondo eh. No, but based on your information, dalawang tao lang nga ang parang nakakaalam nito. No? Si Vice President at si Colonel Chica. My last question, Mr. Presiding Officer. Kanina nasabi nyo na based sa information, meron pang mga tao si Colonel Chica. Tinransfer ni Acosta yung pera, o dinisburse ni Acosta yung pera kay Colonel Chica. And si Colonel Chica, dinisburse niya ulit dito sa mga tao niya. So, double handling ang nangyari dito sa pera. So, paano
Sir,
natin malalaman kung talagang yung pera ay pumunta sa mga activities o tao na kailangan puntahan dahil ni yung accountable officer hindi niya na alam kung paano na disburse yung pera doon sa mga informants. Anong kwento sa'yo ni Colonel Chica na umabot talaga dito sa mga informants?
Sir, based on what was shared to me, sir, Ms. Gina Acosta disbursed the amount to the security officer and then the security officer implemented it on the ground.
Yeah, but violation na kasi in disbursement to Colonel Chica. And then there's another violation na from Colonel Chica to some people who disperse the amounts. Ibig sabihin, ang daming taong humahawak ng pera bago umabot sa mga informants. So, in that sense, ang daming violation o tinakbuhan ng pera. So, thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Senate President. With the indulgence of Senator Judge Padilla, Senator Judge Camille Villar will be availing for a first round opportunity to interject. So I will recognize her first. Again, with your indulgence, Senator Judge Padilla, I see you nodding. Senator Judge Camille Villar, you may proceed when you're ready. You have 2 minutes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Good afternoon po, Mr. Ortonio.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Maayong hapon.
So, mayong hapon din. I just have a few clarificatory questions for you, if you don't mind. Tama po ba kayo ang Assistant Chief of Staff ng OVP?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
And kayo po ang sumagot dun sa AOM na pinadala ng COA. Kayo po yung nag-prepare ng report.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Yes, and ano yung what was the process in which that you did that? Or what were the things that you had to do? You prepared the AOM, you consulted with...
Nung na-receive po yung AOM, ma'am, I informed the Chief of Staff and the Vice President. And from there was an instruction to me to coordinate with the Special Disbursing Officer and the Security Officer, which I did also, ma'am. And then from their replies, ma'am, I drafted the response. And then I submitted the reply for final approval to the head of agency.
And of course, in your capacity as the Assistant Chief of Staff and in your own capacity, sa inyo pong palagay ay nagampanan nyo naman yung inyong role dito sa prosesong ito at nagawa nyo naman adequately yung report.
Yes, at the time, ma'am, yes, I would say so, ma'am. Because from the issues that were raised
Yes.
In the AOM and in the NS, marami pong mga concerns or issues na natanggal po doon sa final na natanggal doon sa notice of disallowance that we received.
Okay, and lahat yung mga requirements naman ay na-fulfill nyo naman dun sa report, right? A majority of it.
Yes, lahat po ng mga concerns that were raised, we were able to provide answers and supporting documents.
And doon naman doon po sa AOM, anywhere in the AOM did it say that there was a misuse or misappropriation of the funds?
No, there was no mention po, ma'am.
Okay. And are the findings of the AOM final?
No, ma'am. It is subject for comments, ma'am. And right now, for ano po siya, ma'am, motion for reconsideration.
Okay. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat. Daghang salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Senator
Thank
Judge
you, Mr.
Camille
Ortono.
Villar.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Senator Judge Padilla. You
Maraming
may
salamat
proceed with
po.
your interjection, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong tagapamahal ng hukom. Tuloy ko lang po yung ating tanungan. Opo. Pagkatapos po niyong sumagot, pwede pong pati na rin sa depensa. Meron din po akong tanong. Kanina po, nahinto tayo kay
Before
Marshal
you continue,
Bonifacio.
Senator Judge Padilla, next time, Attorney Christine, do you need a platform similar to it was Senator Lor. It was Attorney Lorna who first asked for it, but I noticed the prosecution has one. Would you wish one to be provided for you at a future time, Attorney Christine, or
Yes, Your
the
Honor.
side of the respondents?
Yes, Your Honor. I would appreciate having that platform too.
Okay.
Thank you.
In the next hearing, Attorney Christine. Yes, Senator Judge Padilla, you may
Opo.
proceed.
Balikan ko po, naputol po tayo kanina. Opo. Naniniwala po ba kayo na ang confidential fund para yaan po ay makakuha tayo ng impormasyon para makasave ng buhay, para makakaroon tayo ng law and order?
If used properly, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Opo. Kayo po, sa defense, naniniwala po ba kayo?
Yes, Your Honor.
Opo. Kung sa palagay niyo po, nung panahon na si Marshal Bonifacio ay may confidential fund at nalaman niya na merong magtatangka sa kanyang buhay, sa palagay niyo po ba buhay pa si Senator Benigno Aquino ngayon?
Well, assuming, Your Honor, that the foreign occupants were those lone threats to his life, then probably yes, Your Honor.
Salamat po. Kayo po.
Actually, Your Honor, okay. I'm not aware really of the circumstances during that time, Your Honor. So
Okay.
I cannot really comment intelligently on that. Yes, opo. Yes, Your
Opo.
Honor.
Sige. Si Marshal Bonifacio po ang maituturing natin na nagbigay ng daan para sa people power. Yung kanya pong pagkamatay. Opo. Siya po ay na-assassinate. Opo. Sa palagay niyo po ba, kung meron siyang confidential fund noong panahon na yun, ay nagkaroon siya ng information na merong assassination na magagawa sa kanya?
Likely, Your Honor.
Salamat po. Pangalawang tanong po. Palagay niyo po ba kung meron confidential fund si former Senator Angara, na sa ngayon ay sekretary ng DepEd, maaari po bang napigil niya ang mga shooting incident sa mga paaralan?
I cannot speculate.
Wala pong speculation. Sa tingin lang po niyo, kung meron
siya...
siyang... Sabi niyo po kasi kanina, sumang-ayon po kayo, kung may confidential fund, maaring makapigil, makapagbigay ng kapayapaan, law and order. Sa palagay niyo po ba, kung meron siyang confidential... Ano lang naman po yun? Yes or no? Kung hindi po kayo naniniwala, hindi no?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, salamat po. Kayo po.
It can, Your Honor, if the purpose of the confidential fund is to conduct surveillance, Your Honor, on the threats.
So, kinda.
Yes.
Tama ba yung aking diction? Kinda. Salamat po. Salamat po sa inyong dalawa. Isang tanong na lang po sa ating saksi. Naniniwala po ba kayo na hindi pa naman talaga natapos ang investigasyon ng COA dito patungkol sa sinasabing akusasyon sa ating Vice President?
Yes, sir. Nasa stage pa po, sir, ng submission of yung decision for the motion for reconsideration. So, I would say that it's not yet final,
Hindi
sir.
po siya final. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Thank you,
Maraming
Senator
salamat.
Judge Padilla. Senator Judge Lacson, you have 2 minutes, sir. You may proceed when you're ready.
Very
Thereafter, Senator Marcos, and then we're through.
Very quickly lang, Mr. Presiding Officer. Ano na po yung status ng security classification noong inyong PFP covering the PAPs, programs, activities, projects na socio-economic at saka good governance?
Sorry,
Including, ano yung present security classification? Has it been declassified or is it still classified information?
Sir, I would have no idea po, sir.
Teka muna, terminated na po ba yung PFP? Terminated na? Tapos na?
If in terms of the
Activities.
activities, sir, I would assume, sir, na tapos na po siya, sir.
Therefore, kung tapos na, declassified na.
As to the terminology, sir, unfortunately,
Declassified meaning hindi na ito classified information. You know, I'm trying to drive at this scenario, no? Kasi ang dami sa amin nagtataka talaga. Totoo ba talaga yung mga aliases? Totoo ba nakatanggap sila ng reward, ng informants money, para lang matapos na yung aming panghuhula? Baka pwedeng maipresenta all the documents relative to the PAPs, relative to the PFP, relative to the expected outcome. Para lang makapag-decision kami. Kasi sa ngayon, nanguhula kami, saan ba napunta yung pera? Possible po ba yun? I'm also addressing that to the presiding officer. Is it possible for the court to issue subpoena ducis tecum just to settle this issue once and for all, para makita natin saan ba talaga napunta yung pera, so we can have informed decision at the proper time. Ngayon, hula kami ng hula eh. Alam niyo, Mr. Ortonio, no? Misuse, sa akin yung misuse, maski masama yung connotation legally, na misuse mo pero hindi mo binulsa, probably, pwedeng patawarin siguro ng mga kababayan natin, di ba? Naawa ka doon sa mga pulis, sa mga sundalo, na misuse mo kasi hindi intended doon sa item sa GAA. Pero tinulungan mo kasi marami nagkakasakit, naulanan, naarawan. Sa akin, medyo maunawaan pa ng publiko. Although, I'm not saying na hindi violation ng law kasi may technical malversation. But in the eyes of the public, pagka na-misuse pero hindi naman ibinulsa, medyo subdued ng konti yung galit. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
To respond, as a general rule, the court should sit as a passive body, Senator Judge Lacson, and leave it up to the prosecution to subpoena documents they deem necessary to prove their case. However, the court is not without any power after both counsels have presented their respective evidences in chief to call a witness, recall a witness, call a witness that was not called by either or named by either party, and subpoena documents in connection with the subpoena ad testificandum ducis tecum may also be issued, citing as basis City of Cebu versus GACO, AMRTJ 82111, and People versus Valera, GR number 20-28-6. So at the appropriate time, Senator Lacson, the court can avail of that power.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer, for the response. Kasi para hindi na tayo nanguhula lahat ito, 20 ilan tayo rito, hindi natin alam kung talaga saan napunta yung pera. Of course, there's a presumption na nagamit na maayos. But still, there's that doubt. You cannot remove that because of the so many issues na lumabas dito sa aming trial. And we want to be satisfied. After all, we'll be deciding on the basis of evidence and kung anong tingin namin, kung ano yung tama o ano yung mali. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
We reserve that right. The court reserves that right, Senator Judge Lacson. Finally, Senator Judge Marcos for her interjection.
Yes, maraming salamat. At naintriga lang ako sa nasabi kanina, no? What's the documentary evidence of payment? Sa palagay ninyo, ano yung katibayan na nabayaran at hindi?
For the documentary evidence of payment po, we submitted the acknowledgement receipts.
Yung AR pa rin. In the context of rewards and incentives, what's the documentary evidence of payment?
Based on my understanding, ma'am, acknowledgement receipts.
AR din. Wala talagang resibo, walang voucher, walang invoice. Ganun po ba?
Ang understanding ko po, ma'am, it's the acknowledgement receipts, ma'am, can suffice, ma'am.
And COA did not require OVP to submit what was inside that sealed envelope. Nasabi nga ninyo kanina, yung AR lang ang binuksan nyo, hindi na tinignan yung sealed envelope. Kasi ba hindi required ng COA yun?
Ma'am, when we submitted the initial po na comment ng COA is that we submit documentary evidence of payment to include also either ARs or official receipts. We submitted po ARs as documentary evidence of payment, and in the notice of disallowance po, there was no concern anymore in terms of the acknowledgement receipts, ma'am.
So inasmuch as yung COA did no longer ask for other documentation aside from the AR and the other documents submitted, is that the reason kung bakit hindi na niyo binuksan yung sealed envelope?
Ma'am, at the time, ma'am, when I submitted the documents, ma'am, and it was sealed, ma'am, as the role of the liaison officer, ma'am, who will transmit documents to the Commission on Audit, there is no specific na provision, ma'am, that the liaison officer needs to open it. I just need to transmit the documents to the Commission on Audit.
Thank you very much. At yun nga ang gusto ko i-clarify, hindi na kinailangan buksan yung sealed envelope dahil yun nga yung AR at yung mga dokumentong nabigay, yun na yung katibayan na nabayaran. Thank you.
Thank you, Your
Thank you,
Honor.
Senator Judge Marcos. Senator Judge Erwin Tulfo.
I know, Mr. Presiding Officer, we're in a hurry now, pero just a quick manifestation, Mr. Presiding
Yes,
Officer.
you may proceed.
Sir,
Senator Judge
may I
Tulfo.
once again encourage both counsels, the prosecution and the defense, to consider presenting the individual who appears to be the missing link in the testimonies we have heard so far. Ilang araw na po ito, Colonel La Chica, even Colonel La Chica, sa mga TV po kanina, kagabi, willing po siya mag-testify dito. Maging si Defense Secretary, sabi niya gano'n, pinaubayan na namin sa Senate, si Colonel La Chica. I understand, Mr. Presiding Officer, we cannot compel him to appear, but he has been repeatedly named by several witnesses, and it may be helpful to this court to hear directly from that individual so that gaping holes in the testimony may be clarified and the facts may be properly connected. I'm sure lahat po ng Senator judges would like to ask him, ano ba? Saan mo ba dinala? Totoo bang inutusan ka ni BP? O sarili mo lang yan, binulsa mo? I have a lot of questions, Mr. Presiding Officer. That's why I am praying that one day we will be able to talk to Colonel La Chica para matapos na ho ito. Iniiwan ho natin parang hanging po yung question. Matatapos na po tayo dito sa ikang hostile witness. Babalik na tayo sa witnesses ng prosecutors. Hindi pa natin narinig si Colonel La Chica. Mr. Presiding Officer, yun lang po.
The manifestation is noted, but as earlier ruled by the presiding officer, we cannot compel either party to call a witness. However, after the presentation of the party's evidence in chief, the court may exercise its discretion to call a witness based on the Supreme Court ruling cited by the chair earlier. That time will come should Colonel La Chica not be called by either party. So ordered. Just a few questions, Mr. Antonio, to wind up. Kayo po ang nagsagot o sumagot sa lahat ng AOM, notice of suspension at notice of disallowance. Tama po?
Yes, I'm one of the signatories po.
Wala po doon sa AOM o kahit anong notice of suspension at disallowance, yung issue tungkol sa mga alias sa acknowledgement receipt, na-raise po ba yun doon?
It was not raised in any of the observations from COA, sir.
So hindi nyo kinailangan sagutin yun?
We did not answer, sir.
Did not need to answer because there was no question posed?
Yes, Your Honor.
There was no issue also raised by COA with respect to spending it for 11 days. Correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Wala rin kayong kailangan sagutin kaugnay nun.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, the notice of disallowance, for the 3 quarters of 2023, it was disallowed dahil base sa testimonya ni Gina Acosta, binigay niya yung pera kay Colonel La Chica. Tama po ba?
That's one of the observations po, Your Honor.
It's not an observation anymore, Mr. Antonio. It's a notice of disallowance.
Disallowance. Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
So, sa tingin ng COA, bawal, illegal, hindi sang-ayon sa JC 2015-1 yung pagbigay ni Gina Acosta kay La Chica.
Based on the notice of disallowance, Your Honor, it indicates na the transfer from one agency to another, sir.
Kayo po, alam niyo po ba yun na binigay ni Gina Acosta yung huling quarter ng 2022 at 3 quarter ng 2023 kay Colonel La Chica lahat?
At the time, sir, no, I did not, sir.
At the time na binigay niya o at the time na nangyari na?
At the time na nangyari lahat, sir, I would have no personal knowledge, sir.
Hindi, pero nung ginawa mo yung AOM, unang sagot sa AOM, alam mo na binigay ni Gina kay La Chica?
Yes, sir, because they were introduced as the special
So,
officer.
October mo nang nalaman na binigay lahat ni Gina La Chica, October 2023, nung sinagot mo yung unang AOM para sa huling quarter ng 2022, doon mo palang nalaman na binigay lahat ni Gina kay La Chica yung pera.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Now, is La Chica an accountable officer based on the definition of the JC?
Based on the JC, sir, he is not an accountable officer, sir. It's the SDO.
And that is the reason why his signature does not appear in any of the documents submitted by the Vice President in relation to the AOM, NS, and Notice of Disallowance. Dahil hindi naman siya empleyado ng OVP, di ba?
Yes, sir. He's not an employee, sir. Although he is designated as the security officer.
Is that allowed, designating someone as a security officer who's not an employee of the office and being given that much money to disburse?
Sir, based on my understanding, sir, on the JC, when I read it, sir, there's no specific guideline, sir, on who to designate as security officer. But there is a provision po, sir, that the head of agency may designate a security officer to implement different programs and activities.
Now, you keep on mentioning that La Chica implemented and that Acosta disbursed. Ano pong definition nyo ng implement?
Implement, sir, would be to perform the different activities on the ground, sir.
Which entails what? How will he perform the different activities on the ground in relation to confidential funds?
Possible, sir, to coordinate with the different informants or agents, sir. Yun po yung pwede kong mabigay na information, sir.
Mr. Tonyo, sa mga salitang perform at coordinate, saan po doon yung paggastos ng confidential fund? Perform, coordinate. Yun ang definition mo na implement.
Yes, sir.
Oh, asan doon? Ba't binigay kay Colonel La Chica yung pera at ba't siya gumastos kung perform at coordinate lang pala? Did Colonel La Chica spend the money?
I would say so, sir, that being the implementer of the different activities, sir, he spent the money for the different confidential activities.
So Colonel La Chica disbursed the money for various confidential activities.
I would say, sir, na he implemented the different activities, sir.
Mr. Tonyo, nasa spent na tayo. Binago ko lang ng konting disburse, bumalik ka na naman sa implement eh. Again, spent, disbursed. It means the same thing. Ang
Sir,
gumastos na ng pera na binigay ni Gina, si Colonel La Chica o mga tauhan niya.
Sir, based on my understanding, sir, it's Miss Gina Acosta who disbursed the fund, sir. And then si Colonel La Chica po yung implement or conduct ng mga confidential activities.
Hindi
on the
nagbayad si Colonel La Chica?
Part of his duties as the implementer, sir, nagbayad siya doon sa mga...
So is it your theory that Gina disbursed to La Chica as an end user?
Yun po yung ano ko, sir. That's my understanding po, sir.
Kung end user si La Chica, bakit niya binawi yung acknowledgement receipt niya nung nagbigay na siya ng mga acknowledgement receipt para sa di umano binayaran niya? Hindi ba dapat tinago niya yun? Kasi nag-disburse si Gina, tinanggap ni La Chica. Kung siya ang end user, tama lang na may acknowledgement receipt siya, ba't niya binawi? Ba't hindi tinago sa file?
Sir, in terms of binawi po yung AR, sir, I do not know of that, sir, because...
That's what Gina said.
The AR, sir, were given to me by Miss Gina, and then that's what I submitted to the Commission on Audit.
The ARs of the various aliases na binanggit, yung kanina pa sinasabi, ng iba't ibang apelido, kasama niya apelido ko, yun yung sinubmit ni Colonel La Chica. Ayon kay Gina, nagbigay siya ng pera kay Colonel La Chica at bilang katibayan, nagbigay na acknowledgement receipt si Colonel La Chica. Pero nung nagbigay siya ng mga acknowledgement receipt na liquidation, binawi daw ni Colonel La Chica yung acknowledgement receipt. So wala kang kopya ng acknowledgement receipt ni La Chica?
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. Ang pagkakaalam ko, sir, is that I got the box with acknowledgement receipt, sir, from the special disbursing officer. And
So
that's
you're
what
not aware of any acknowledgement receipt signed by La Chica?
No, sir.
So if Gina disbursed to him, ba't hindi mo hinanap yung acknowledgement receipt kay La Chica?
Sir, the request, sir, was for the DEPs for the implementation,
If your
sir.
theory is, dinisburse kay La Chica, in-implement ni La Chica, hindi ba kailangan may papel yung dinisbursan na tinanggap niya yung pera?
Sir, I did not request for it anymore, sir.
That's a final question, sir. So this is your story. you placed in the PAP, or you know that what they placed in the PAP, good governance program, socio-economic delivery program, pero gagastusin yung confidential fund para sa informants, para tiyakin na ligtas ang ikalawang Pangulo saan man siya magpunta sa bansa, kaugnay ng trabaho niya, at ginamit itong confidential fund para bumili ng impormasyon, pera binigay para ipambili ng pagkain, ng silya, ng computer, ng gamot, kapalit ay impormasyon para matiyak ang kaligtasan ng VP at napatunayang matagumpay yon dahil walang nangyaring masama sa ating Vice Presidente hanggang ngayon. Yan po yung buod, summary, ng paggamit ng confidential fund ng OVP base sa inyong presentasyon.
Sir, with due respect, sir, just
You can correct me, sir.
Just one correction lang po,
Yes,
sir. It's for the to ensure that the activities of the OVP will be implemented safely and that no untoward na mga mangyayari in the performance of walang mangyayari sa mga different activities ng OVP. That's what I
Walang
understand.
mangyayaring masama sa kanya at dun sa makikilahok. That's an accepted
For the office
amendment.
and sir, for the people who will be, say for example, attending mga events, sir.
Kaya hindi lang kay VP, pati sa mga taong makikilahok dun sa event para ligtas silang lahat doon.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yan po yung sinabi sa inyo ni Colonel Lachica na rason kung bakit siya namigay ng pera sa iba't ibang informant sa pamamagitan ng reward o pera pambili ng gamot, ng silya, ng computer, ng pagkain.
Yes, Your Honor.
That would be all, Mr. Antonio. Senator Judge Zubiri, to avail of the first round.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I was not going to ask any more questions. I won't be asking a question to the witness, more to address the court. Can we make, because this is a recurring theme, halos sa lahat ng mga testigo, ang sinasabi po nila at minsan mga tanong ng prosecution or defense and prosecution ay ito bang finding ng COA, hindi pa siya final. It is yet under may motion for reconsideration, ika nga, binanggit nga kanina ng ating testigo. Can this court make representation with the COA, if possible, during the duration of this trial, so that we may be guided as judges? Can they make their finding already with finality? Who knows? They may say na wala namang nangyaring kalokohan, itong article ay tapos na. Pag sinabi naman talaga nila ay masyadong glaring yung mga violations, then tayo bilang mga judges will also be clarified kung meron talagang misuse of funds. Kasi yung arbiter talaga nito is COA. Diba? Lahat ng misuse of funds ng government agencies, it is the COA that makes that determination. And then before it is taken up to another court, which is Sadigan Bayan, the Ombudsman. Pero sana po, Mr. Presiding Officer, this is an appeal to the COA. I know there is what you call the due process for the parties, but I think the filing for the motion for consideration was done a few months ago, or I think it was in 2000. The findings came out 2024 or 2025. Medyo matagal na. And if there was a motion to for reconsideration on the part of the Vice President, maybe it will be prudent that they already come up with a decision of finality, Mr. Presiding Officer, and furnish this impeachment court because it will be very important. Kasi ang sagot palagi ng testigo, may motion for reconsideration pa kami. Hindi pa final po yan, Your Honors. So, for the guidance of each and every one of us here, may we appeal to the Commission on Audit, I'm sure they're listening, can they already come out with finality on this issue so that we may be guided by the arbiter, the final arbiter when it comes to issues of misuse of funds. Yun lang po, Mr.
By
Presiding
way of
Officer.
reply, Senator Judge Zubiri, the Commission on Audit is an independent constitutional commission, and I doubt if we would be well within our rights to compel them, similar to a mandamus, to act one way or the other on this matter. Secondly,
That's why it is a request, Mr.
I
Presiding
think the
Officer.
period
Yes.
to file an appeal under 45 or under 65 by certiorari of the ruling of the COA Commission and Bank has not yet lapsed, and the period to file a reconsideration has not yet lapsed too. It is yet to be, the respondent I think has until October to file a motion for reconsideration. So it's not yet in the hands of the Commission at this point in time. But having said that, thirdly,
Yes, Mr. President.
There are cases decided by the Supreme Court to the effect that a final determination of COA is not necessary for a case to be heard and tried. This does not preclude the impeachment court, if at all, from deciding based on available evidence in regard to the articles of impeachment pending before us.
Pero Mr. Presiding Officer, napakabigat na mga akusasyon na binabanggit natin dito na yung araw na ito sa Vice Presidente. Napakabigat. Does not that weigh on to the Commission, although it's an independent body, that prudence dictates that they must act with of course, following the what you call due process. Kung October, sinasabi nga natin, hindi nga ito matatapos ng December. So it is well within the period. I, myself, as one of the judges of this impeachment court, want to see the final observation report or findings of the Commission on Audit. That is an appeal to them. As I said, we cannot compel them. They are a independent constitutional branch of government. But for example, budget season starts next week. They will come. Maybe we can ask that question to them. How long will it take before this finding comes out? Because we want to know. I cannot make that. It's very difficult sometimes to make a decision without the final decision made by the Commission on Audit. I think it would be very important, Your Honor. Just putting that on the record. Thank you.
The manifestation of Senator Judge Revere is noted. Proceeding now to some administrative matters. The Honorable Luistro earlier asked about the presence of Colonel Boransing. We furnished parties with a copy of his letter dated August 25, stating that he cannot make it given that he needed to coordinate with his superiors before being able to leave his post as prescribed by the standard operating procedures in the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and requests that he instead be called on September 1. I am constrained to grant that, Honorable Luistro, Attorney Sheila, given the exigencies of his position, that he is the commanding officer of Task Force Zamboanga and cannot leave simply because he received the subpoena and would need certain preparations before he can leave his post. Let the corresponding subpoena, if it has not yet been issued, be issued for Colonel Boransing, the second on September 1. Number 2, insofar as Major General Bajao, retired, is concerned, the address given was not received by the Armed Forces of the Philippines. He is retired. So may I instruct the prosecution to kindly coordinate with either the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office, PIVAO, or the AFP Pension and Gratuity Management Center to get an address. I'm sure he's receiving his pension from somewhere, and that would be a good place to look. The court cannot issue a subpoena properly to Major General Bajao without an address, counsel. Bahaw. In regard to the third, sitting third?
Panopio, Your Honor.
Yes, in regard to Colonel Panopio, he was subpoenaed to appear on September 1, thinking that Colonel Boransing would be here today. Therefore, there are no other witnesses to be presented by the prosecution today. So, next week, we are expecting Colonel Boransing, Colonel Panopio, and hopefully, we would be able to find Major General Bahaw, if you will still persist in those three witnesses, Honorable Luistro.
Your Honor, we respectfully inform the Honorable Impeachment Court that we are now dropping the presentation of Colonel Bahaw. Nevertheless, we maintain
Major General.
Major
retired.
General Bahaw, Your Honor. We maintain the position to present both Colonel Boransing and Colonel Panopio, to whom the subpoenas have been ordered to be issued for September 1, 2026, Your Honor. But in addition to that, Your Honor, and in order to maximize the schedule that is given to us by the
I was
Honorable
about to ask
Impeachment
that.
Court, for September 2, that is next Wednesday, Your Honor, we would like to respectfully move for the issuance of subpoena ad testificandum to Attorney Michael Wesley T. Poa, if the same should be necessary, as well as to Ms. Marisa B. Grande of the Philippine Statistics Authority, Your Honor. if given opportunity next week, this too shall likewise be presented on September 2, Wednesday, Your Honor.
Subject to the colatilia that should the other witness not appear, given that Attorney Poa is here and more than willing to testify as intimated earlier, then we jump to Attorney Poa. Should the other earlier two witnesses fail to appear on September 1, without need of issuing a subpoena to Attorney Poa. He is so informed in open court.
We submit to that, Your Honor.
So ordered. Other matters, yesterday afternoon, the prosecution filed a motion to set a conference for the marking of additional exhibits, particularly documents received from the Philippine Statistics Authority. The prosecution seeks to set the conference at 4 p.m. today. This is quite a simple motion, Attorney Sheila. The motion is granted. The clerk of court is directed to conduct the marking of additional exhibits at 4 o'clock this afternoon at Rector Room, and counsels are directed to send representatives to attend the conference. The presiding officer is also in receipt of a request from the respondent to be furnished with copies of the prosecution's pre-marked exhibits for Article 1, which counsel for respondent is likewise marked with the specifics. These being common exhibits, the request is hereby granted. The clerk of court is directed to furnish counsel for the respondent with copies of the requested pre-marked exhibits, with understanding that the panel of prosecutors will be accorded the same courtesy should a similar request on the respondent's marked documents be made in the future. So ordered.
Your Honor,
Yes, Attorney Sheila?
given that opportunity given to the prosecution to mark additional documents, we would like to avail of the same opportunity. And if the situation calls for it, we will ask for an additional setting for conference to mark on additional documents in preparation for our presentation, so that in the interest of time, we can take advantage of these additional settings ordered by the court.
Let it so be granted without
Thank you,
need
Your
of
Honor.
an order being issued by the court, subject to the availability of the parties and the clerk of court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So ordered. Finally, we are in receipt of a prosecution's request for supplemental subpoena for other banks and financial institutions. I presume, Attorney Sheila, you got a copy of the subpoena?
We did, Your Honor.
The chair will simply adopt and apply its ruling last July 20, 2026 concerning the subpoena issued to certain banking institutions involving the same subject matter, and the same limitations will apply accordingly. The request for subpoena directed to the concerned banking institutions, I won't specify anymore because both parties have a copy, and financial institutions covering the respondent, her spouse, Attorney Manasseh Carpio, as well as 20 entities allowed by this court in which the spouses hold an interest, is hereby granted. It is clear that the subpoena does not include foreign currency, is limited only to peso-denominated accounts and not to foreign currency deposits, as these are excluded without the written consent of the depositor. The clerk of court is directed to cause the issuance and service of the subpoenas to the entities requested to so submit, who shall produce the required documents before the clerk of court in 7 calendar days from today, or on September 2, Wednesday, next week, 2026. So ordered.
Your Honor,
Yes, Attorney Sheila.
given the position that we had articulated on this matter of the subpoena with respect to bank records and other materials subject of that subpoena, we will just want to place it on record that we will be, or we are reserving our right to comment and to put our appropriate objections at the proper time. Thank you.
On the record, Attorney
On the
Sheila.
record, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, please.
And or seek further remedies as is available to you.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Outside of this court. Yes, Honorable Isro.
We would like to respectfully manifest to the Honorable Impeachment Court that almost simultaneously to the reading of the ruling of the Honorable Impeachment Court on the issue of sub judice rule, the respondent Vice President made a public statement
I
which
know
is
where you're leading at, Counsel. Naunahan mo lang ako. I thought you were going to take up another matter, so let me cut you short. Yes. While the presiding officer was delivering its ruling on the applicability, limitation, and who is covered by Rule 18, a statement was issued by the impeached official, the respondent, the Vice President, which clearly is covered by what the ruling earlier given by the presiding officer issued. So given that it was done while the ruling was being issued, prospectivity would still apply. However, the presiding officer would like to remind through the lead counsel for the respondent, her client, to kindly observe the ruling of the presiding officer as well as the rules of the impeachment court, specifically Article or Rule 18 on the subject matter in regard to making comments on the merits of the case, because henceforth, again, given the prospectivity of the ruling, the necessary actions will be taken against her not only by the court, but also, given that she's a lawyer, via what the presiding officer earlier mentioned in relation to CIPRA and in relation to the Office of the Bar Confident. Kindly inform her, Attorney Sheila.
We take note of that reminder, Your Honor.
Thank you, Attorney
So
Sheila.
just, it will form part of the record, Your Honor. May I be allowed to read that portion of the statement of the
I think this
respondent
is
vice
unnecessary,
president?
Your Honor.
No need, no need. Again, I find it unacceptable, and it will be commenting on the merits, and no need to read it in the records. The court can take, in fact, judicial notice of that, should it so desire. Senator Judge Aquino.
Mr. President, for the benefit of everyone, may I be clarified again, what are the possible penalties for breaking or not following your decision po earlier? Kapag Senator Judge, it goes to the Committee on Ethics, tama po, no?
Yes?
Yes. Kapag mga miyembro po ng councils, ano po yung mga posibleng penalty? Kapag respondent or complainant, ano po yung mga posibleng penalty? Kapag ibang tao po, kasama po ba sila sa saklaw ng inyong ruling kanina?
We will issue the corresponding guidelines, Senator Judge Bam, for the information of Senator Judges, so that it will be in a clear table form. But to answer your question, reprimand and admonition, followed by a fine for the second offense, and fine subsequently thereafter without prejudice to referring the matter should it violate their obligations as a member of, as an officer of the court, without prejudice to referring the matter to the Supreme Court, the IBP, and or the Office of the Bar Confident, if any violation may have been committed by them. But we will issue the guidelines in relation to that. Yes, Honorable Luis, anything else?
We have no other manifestation, Your Honor.
Attorney Sheila?
We're good, Your Honor.
We promise to provide what do you call it? A platform, should it be so necessary.
Yes, Your
May
Honor.
we
We
request, Your
appreciate
Honor,
that.
that the witness, Mr. Ortonio, be excused?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Ortonio. I thought administrative matters would not take this long. Yes, Mr. Ortonio, you are excused. Maraming salamat po sa inyong panahon, sa inyong kooperasyon at sa pagsagot po sa katanungan ng Senator Judges at ng magkabilang partido. Thank you for your time, sir. You are excused,
Thank you
sir.
very much, Your Honor. Thank you.
The trial is adjourned until 10 a.m. Still 10 a.m. on Tuesday, given that Monday is a holiday, September 1, 2026.
Gangster, you know, we do that better than anybody. I bet you got it twisted, you don't know who to trust. So many player hating niggas trying to sound like us. Say they ready for the front, but I don't think they know it. Straight to the depths of hell is where them cowards going. Well, all you still down, nigga, holler when you see me. And let these devils be soft for the day they finally free me. I got a caravan of niggas every time we ride. Hitting motherfuckers up when we pass by. Until I die, live the life of a boss player. Cause even when I'm high, fuck with